Andrea, and I'm a grad student in Dr. Sminova's Literacy and Technology class. This is my Vblog. First off, I gotta say, I cannot believe I'm finally submitting my Vblog. That means that we've reached the end of the semester, and looking back, it has been an overwhelming tornado of amount of work and just schoolwork and all that stuff. When this course started, I can't even believe to describe how nervous I was. I had never done an online course before. When I saw the syllabus and I saw all the amount of requirement work that we would have to do, the assigned stuff, things I'd never heard of, it was definitely nerve-wracking. Dr. Smirnova was definitely really good about breaking us into the course by having us meet online as a class and as a whole. It definitely gave me so much learning that I did with all the technology that we used. I've never heard of live binders before. I had never heard of Google Hangouts. I had never known half the stuff that you could do with Google that I like use every day now, because I think it's really cool and really neat. And if I was a teacher, which I'm obviously going for, but if I had my own classroom, I would definitely incorporate my students to like learn via like technology. I would definitely have my students blog. Before this, I've never blogged before, and I think it's really neat. It's a really cool way of like expressing things that we've learned, along with the Slice of Life challenge that we did. I think that was also really cool because it gave us a topic to talk about. The Slice of Life was a neat project to do as a class because we all got to see each other's responses on specific topics like work, like what happens at work, and how we feel like our balance in life with like schoolwork and personal life. I really enjoyed reading some of my classmates' blogs. Like Geneve had an amazing blog about how her life as a teacher, and her life as a learner, and her life as a student, and her life as a girlfriend, and her life as a daughter, you know, it all tied in together, but at the same time, it took so much from her. And I think that many of us could relate to that as students and as teachers and as educators. It's like we play so many roles together, and like we don't really realize that so many of us are going through the same thing until we actually get to see each other's blogs. That's why I would incorporate blogging in my classroom for literacy. I would have my students all blog, of course, like teacher supervision. Like I wouldn't want any like inappropriate comments being made on there, but I would have them blog about like certain topics that we've discussed, and assignments, how they feel about certain things. I think it's a great way for them to write. It meets the New York State standard for writing. I would also have them comment on each other's blogging. Apart from blogging, I think that the amount of stuff that we've done in this coursework for the assignments has definitely been another part of my learning experience that I'm taking with me. Before this, the only website that I was familiar with was Pinterest, and I loved pinning because it's like you can create your own fantasy world, whether it's like teaching, traveling, wedding, babies, anything. It's very creative, and I think that after this course I started using it more for my educational purposes, things that I would want to share with other teachers, projects that I would want to do in my classroom. Live binders I think was really neat. Ed Canvas was also really neat. Like I feel like teachers sharing their lesson plans online is a really cool thing. Another thing I've never really thought about before this course was Web 2.0. Up until like our module 5, I had no idea I had never even heard of Web 2.0. I didn't know what it was. I never knew anything about it. After reading the articles and watching the videos, I realized how incredible Web 2.0 is, with all the stuff that I'd mentioned before about like the live binders and Ed Canvas and Pinterest and all these things that teachers have, the power and like all this social networking to share information about their classrooms and their lesson planning and their projects and their creativity. And it was just amazing to see all this like new technology per se incorporated in our social world that anybody can just be a part of. It's crazy to see also how I always thought of myself as a digital native. I always thought that I knew all about technology, and by having a cell phone and knowing how to text and knowing how to surf the internet. After this course, I can see that I absolutely am a digital immigrant. There's so much more out there that I totally had no idea about, and it's crazy to see how our children for this generation are the actual digital natives. They're going to be born into all this technology. They're going to be using all this technology in their classroom. When I was in the classroom, we had a chalkboard, and I thought it was a big development when we went from a chalkboard to a whiteboard, from projectors to slideshows. Now children have smartboards and Elmos, and they can tweet their answers in classrooms, and they can, Google Hangout with each other. They don't even have to be in a classroom. They can just, meet online as a class. They can text their teacher via the Google Text. I think everything that has happened in the last 4 years has been phenomenal and extraordinary. All the apps that there is for children to become better readers and writers and speakers has definitely surprised me. I would have never thought about any of that before reading any of the articles that we had or talking about it. As I look back at all my blogs from the beginning of the semester, I can definitely see how much I've changed as a digital learner. Like I mentioned before, all the websites that I only knew about was Pinterest and Facebook, and I don't even Facebook, but the amount of things that students can do nowadays online that can improve their literacy skills is just amazing. As I look back at my first blog, I can remember just being nervous and anxious about this course, and as my blogs started getting closer to this time, and I felt like I've changed as a learner in this course. I feel more confident about how to submit my work and change things to PDF files, and just present things in a different manner. It's not all about PowerPoints. I think I was very comfortable with just putting everything on a PowerPoint, and now there's Prezi and Present Me, VoiceThreads. There's so many cool tools out there for teachers to use. I never learned about podcasts before, and now I do. There's just so much out there that I feel teachers definitely need to learn. I don't think we'll ever be done learning. I think I wrote about that in one of my blogs. It's crazy to see how much there is out there, and I feel it's a little scary at times too, because by the time we feel comfortable with a certain app or a certain website, there's a new one out there, or something better, or something more digitally created. I feel our kids, our students, will definitely learn a lot and benefit from having all this, having iPads and ebooks in the classroom. As I presented in my final project, when I went to school, we had computers, we had projectors, and I think the most gaming that we ever did was the Oregon Trail. Now our kids have the accessibility to have iPad apps where they can leapfrog and learn how to read with that. Like I mentioned before, you can submit your answers through Twitter. Everybody tweets on the classroom. That's I just find that to be phenomenal. So I've learned a lot in this course, and I just want to say thank you.